I think it's time for us to discuss matters Kilmarnock, and we're going to discuss the new manager situation. Alex Dyer, of course, leaving at the weekend after that 3-2 defeat to St Johnstone. Adam telling me off here that he heard before that match it was win or bust from people at Clyde Super Scoreboard. So, you know, it was a case that we lost it, and in spectacular fashion, may I add, much to the frustration of the Kilmarnock fans. So his time is up. It's time for a new chapter, a new beginning at Kilmarnock. You know, we sit 9th in the league in a bit of a relegation scrap. Who's your man for the job?
Yeah, well, I think for a lot of Kelly fans, it's between, you know, Tommy Wright and Stephen Robinson, isn't it? These seem to be the two men that are really, you know, at the forefront. There are some other names in there, the likes of Derek Adams and Gary Holt, but I think, you know, for most, as we say, it is between those two. For me, Stephen Robinson, I think, you know, he's a relatively young manager, good fresh ideas. He had good success at Motherwell for a number of years, not only in getting them to the Europa League, to cup finals on a regular basis as well, but he brought through some good young players, the likes of Alan Campbell, players like that, and he's got a good transfer record as well, bringing in players like Louis Moult and the likes and selling them on for decent fees. Cedric Kipre as well, another one that went for £1 million plus when he was only brought in for a couple of tens of thousands. So he's got a fantastic record in that regard, and I just think that he's a manager that's highly regarded. I know it sort of went all wrong for him towards the end at Motherwell, but it wasn't just down to him. You know, I think that was a large part of the players as well. But he's back. He said he's ready to get back into management, and I think Killie would be a pretty good fit for him and a pretty good project.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one. I'd have to totally agree with you. It's going to be between, from the Kilmarnock fans' point of view, I think the overriding feeling is, amongst the support, it has to be a safe appointment. Tommy Wright, Stephen Robinson, both established Scottish Premiership managers. They both know the game up here. They've both managed for a number of years up here. You're saying Stephen Robinson. I'll tell you why I'm disagreeing.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Tommy Wright. Stephen Robinson, without doubt, a good manager. But in this current situation, where we are 9th in the league in a relegation battle, there's just something for me about Tommy Wright that seems safer. I just think that Tommy Wright, with his time at St Johnstone, always get the best out of his players. And by all means, so did Stephen Robinson for the most part. But he was there for a number of years more than Stephen Robinson was. He's an old school kind of guy. He'll be demanding the best from his players. And I just feel like he's the kind of guy that can get the best out of the current squad that's there. You know, we said about Stephen Robinson, maybe he needs to bring in some of his players before he can get there. And I just think from purely being 9th in the league, that tips it for me. Stephen Robinson, Tommy Wright, I'd maybe say Stephen Robinson in terms of long term.
Yeah.
2-3 years down the line. If we were mid-table right now and we lost a manager, I'd go Stephen Robinson. But purely for the fact that we are 9th in the league and we need to preserve our status, I think we're going to be forced into going for someone like Tommy Wright. That's just my personal view.
No, I get exactly what you're saying, and I think Billy Barrow will probably be thinking along the same lines as well. You're absolutely right. If we were sitting mid-table and you know, we'd maybe lost a manager to another club or whatnot in a different scenario, then maybe someone like Stephen Robinson that can be here long term, he's got, there's no real pressure of relegation, and he can work to bring in his own players and things. And as you say, you know, Tommy Wright, you know what you're getting. You know that he'll get the best out of the players as soon as possible. The only thing for me with Tommy Wright is that we've been treated to some really, really bad football so far this season. And I don't think that Tommy Wright is going to increase that standard anymore. I don't think he plays particularly pretty football. I think he just plays football to get results. And, you know, I can understand that for a lot of fans that might not matter at the minute. It might just be about survival. But maybe just from my personal view, I'd like someone that can also bring you know, a good brand of football, attacking football, and really make the best of what the players have got. But I would totally understand if the club went with Tommy Wright, because at the minute, survival, you know, relegation is not an option. That's just not an option at all. I think the club is in pretty bad financial position as it is, and if we were to be relegated, then, you know, I'd absolutely hate to imagine what would happen. So at the minute, I think it's more likely it's going to be Tommy Wright, but Stephen Robinson would be my ultimate choice going forward. Yeah,
Tommy Wright now, Stephen Robinson in the future, or if we were in a safer position in the league. That's how I see it. I mean, I have to say, Stephen Robinson, long-term, definitely. For the reasons you mentioned, he's got contacts down south as well. Not only is he good at building a team, the contacts as well helps him with that. And, you know, 2 cup finals with Motherwell in the same season, that's sensational. That's magnificent, isn't it? Even Steve Clark didn't even get us to a semi-final. I mean, well, I'm not criticising Steve Clark, did an incredible job with us, but I'm just, giving you an idea of how good an achievement that is and how impressive that is from Stephen Robinson. And I'm pretty sure they knocked out Rangers in one of them, if not both of them. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's very, very impressive.
Yeah, so I did this the other day. We were talking about, who's on the bookies short list, which is a lot of it's made up, right? A lot of it's just guesswork, but there is some kind of realistic stuff in there as well. So one of the names in the top 5 was Derek Adams, former Ross County manager. It's not an attractive proposition, I know, but he's been around the football for a long time. He knows Scottish football very well, maybe better than most.
Who else?
James Fowler as well was one of the top 5. He's ruled
out.
himself out. Thankfully, probably. I think that would have been a pretty unpopular appointment with Killie fans. And the other one in the top 5 was Gary Holt as well. Obviously, just taking the job at Falkirk as their sporting director. But I think that if a call came in from Killie, he'd probably leave it like that and come here. Because I don't think he's made any secret that one of his ambitions is to manage here. But again, I think we've moved past Gary Holt, to be honest. I think we're well beyond, the days where, the fans are... It was after, both after Steve Clark left and after Alessio left, Gary Holt was the only manager on everyone's minds, and I think that his season at Livingston this season, when it was just a complete disaster, and you saw how quickly David Martindale changed it around when he came in. I think that's made Killie fans realise he's not this sort of godlike figure that they perhaps thought.
That's the killer for Gary Holt. What David Martindale's done since he came in. I mean, there was murmurs, there's rumours, we don't know for sure, but we heard that behind the scenes David Martindale was doing the work from, since for years at Livingston, and because of his past criminal record, they've had to get someone in ahead of him, to hide him.
Like a puppet almost.
Yeah, in the background, exactly. And David Martindale's shown exactly what he can do. It's incredible what they were doing. I don't know if they've won tonight.
Yeah, they won again tonight.
2-0 up, there you go, at Pataudry. I mean, that's another thing I want to discuss. Do you bring a manager in for 6 months? Again, like we touched on, are you going to get a good manager for 6 months to keep you in the league? And then do you speak to Livingston, who, their manager is out of contract at the end of this season? Does Billy Bowie get on the phone to David Martindale right now and say, hey, Davey, I'm going to make a deal for you in the summer. Come to Rugby Park and get the deal done now and then unwrap him in the summer. But the problem is with that, getting a manager in before that, isn't it?
Yeah, to be honest with that, with Martindale coming to Rugby Park, I think you're maybe bigging up Killie more than they actually are at the minute. I don't think that Martindale would come here at all, especially Livingston continue to do this well. And even if they don't, I think he's a very loyal man. He's been there for a very long time. They've shown him, faith after everything he's been through, and he's quite keen to repay that. I don't think there's any chance that he would come to Rugby Park at all. It would have to be I think Bowie would have to offer him ludicrous money in that regard, which is certainly not going to happen in the current financial situation. So I just can't see that happening. But I get your point. Do we get in a manager for 6 months to try and save it, like Tommy Wright, and then go from there? But I think it's such a difficult decision because the board have got so many things wrong in the past 2 years, ever since Alessio was forced out, that they really need this one to be right.
I think the other problem with the 6 month thing is, would a manager take a job on 6 months? Would a Tommy Wright take a job on 6 months? Would a Stephen Robinson take a job on a 6 month basis? That's the other thing.
When you think it's not even 6 months when you think about it though, because the season's only on for another 3-4 months. So in reality, it's a lot less. So maybe if they were out of work, they would say yes. But then they'll think about if I can't save this and I relegate Kilmarnock, then what does that do for me and my CV?
Most managers now tend to look for a long-term contract so that if they do get sacked, there's some kind of payment there, isn't there? I mean, I was astonished when Alex Dyer got a 2-year deal. I mean, on what basis was Alex Dyer right to get a 2-year deal? He'd lost every game. It was crazy. And then up to the summer, we weren't that great either. So why he got the 2-year deal was beyond me. But again, that's a conversation for another day. Another manager I should mention, long in the bookie odds, probably unlikely to get it. He's been mentioned a few times in the bookies, odds and stuff, and rumoured. A Steve Clark-esque kind of manager in terms of his background, Paul Clement. He's just left his job in Belgium. I think he only picked up 4 points from the last 39 points available. So would he be looking to get back into management straight away? And would he be someone that Kilmarnock fans would appreciate and want?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He's certainly got a pretty good background in terms of who he's managed. He's managed at the top level in England and whatnot. Swansea, but Yeah, I think that based on that current record, obviously we don't know what the Belgian situation was, but 4 points from
Fair.
whatever it was, 39, it's even worse than Alex Dyer was. So I don't think I think he's said in the past that he'd like to come and manage in Scottish football, but I think we're looking for someone more close to home. I don't think we can take a risk
Can't take a risk,
on
no.
someone
Just,
that
just a
hasn't
suggestion.
on someone that doesn't know the Scottish football landscape and
Yeah.
know the teams and know the players. We need someone that knows that, because every point from now on is so crucial, because we are right in this relegation fight, and we need to make sure that we pick up every point. So you say Tommy Wright,
Yeah.
I say Stephen Robinson, but what does that's what your head says, but what does your heart say that Bowie's going to go with? Could be neither of them, let's be honest.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Angelo Alessio never even appeared in the bookie odds to the very last minute, didn't he? Not. I mean, Kilmarnock have, in recent times, I know not with certainly not with Alex Dyer, but certainly the other two, Alessio and Clark, they weren't when we lost
it
them.
came out of nowhere,
When we
didn't
sacked
it?
the
Yeah.
manager, we didn't expect either of those. Not even in a million years would we expected either of those. So Billy Bowie might go for that left of field appointment again, but
Yeah, Frank Lampard's out of a job.
he is. But if I'm honest with you, I don't think he can afford to do that this time, and I think he knows that. And I do think he's going to go with one of Wright or Robert Robinson. And, with my head, I would go Wright. And with Bowie's head, I think he'll go Wright as well.